Story time. This is about the time where we had a fellow diver that ran out of air. So this happened a year back, I think 2023, early 2023. So I was in a diving holiday for I think 6 days, and this happened on my third day of diving. So we're shipwreck diving that time. So just to give you a quick background on how our daily routine works on that diving holiday is that every day, although I'm diving with the same dive center, every time I go to the boat, it's different people, okay, different guests, and a lot of times different guides as well. So this was my third day. So the same thing when we got to the boat at 8 a.m. There were different people, but there was one that I was already familiar with, one of the dive guides. So I was a bit comfortable already. So the plan for the day was that we were going to do 3 dives. We usually do 3 dives a day. We're going to do 3 dives, 2 shipwrecks, and 1 reef dive. Now, the first dive of the day, the first shipwreck dive of the day, was always the deepest dive that we'll do for that day. So typically the dives are at 25 to 30 meters or 20 to 30 meters. For this particular dive, our first dive, we're going to visit a battleship, a battle shipwreck that was about 25 to 30 meters deep. The dive was supposed to last around 45 minutes depending on the air that we had left. So anyway, it started off normal. Everybody was getting to know each other on the boat while we were on our way to our first dive site. So normal lang. The plan was, for the first dive namin, the plan was, there were, I think, 5 or 6 of us in total as a group. So the plan was we're going to do a single file sa tubig. The first dive guide will be the lead guide, so he will be in the front. Then the middle would be the guests, including myself. Amongst the guests, I was the last person because I was holding a camera. So I was the last guest, and behind me there was supposed to be another safety diver, so another guide, so the safety diver. So the plan was we'll go in a single file. First, punta muna kami dun sa outside of the shipwreck. We'll visit the gun. And then we'll do our first penetration. We'll enter this ship. We'll do our first penetration and then go out, and then do our second penetration, then go out. And depending on the air that we have left, we may explore the top of the ship, then do our safety stop, and then exit the water already. So that was the plan. Now, the thing about shipwreck diving is that aside from open water diving or open water scuba diving, shipwreck diving has more risks. Mas marami siyang risk because there are a lot more things that can go wrong. So sa open water pa lang, there's also a lot of things that can go wrong. It's more pagdating sa shipwreck diving. For example, when you go inside the ship, it's going to be an enclosed space. So if you have a problem, you have to find an exit. You can't just swim up. Okay, you have to find an exit kasi enclosed space nga siya. The second thing is it's dark inside a shipwreck kasi walang source of light. So nasa loob ka nga, hindi makapasok yung sunlight. So it's going to be very dark inside. That's why all of us carry torches. So that is why shipwreck diving is only allowed for those that are already advanced open water or the same level, or at least the same level. Okay, advanced open water diver, because it carries more risk. In fact, while we were on the ship, or on the boat, on the dive boat, the dive guides were telling me about a story that happened a couple of years back. May isang pamilya or one family, a group of 3, their son was trapped inside. Okay, nawala, and he was trapped inside because the risk of getting lost inside the ship really is big. It's dark, it's in an enclosed space, and at the same time, if you're not a good swimmer or you have a problem with your finning, there's going to be a lot of silk, so the visibility will be very bad. So getting lost is highly probable, okay, if you don't have a dive guide. So yeah, So that son of theirs nawala, and yeah, he couldn't get out in time until he ran out of air, and wala na, finished na siya. So that was just one of their horror stories, which really happened. So going back to our actual dive, so yeah, we went to the site, then we prepared our gear, checked our gear, everything was a-okay, walang problema. Then we jumped in the water, right? So as planned, we did a single file, explored outside of the ship first a bit, we visited the gun, and then we did our first penetration. Pumasok na kami sa loob ng shipwreck. So inside the shipwreck, it was really tight inside. So yeah, I would say the hallways or yung linhalangoyan namin was just about 1 meter or 1.5 meter wide, and may mga butas-butas pa kaming kung saan nag-squeeze in pa kami. So it was really tight inside, and it was really dark as well. But this was already my third day of shipwreck diving, so I didn't mind at all. So yeah, I just explored, or we explored at the inside. We followed the plan, single file nga. I was busy taking videos, and siguro after 10 to 15 minutes, we're about to go on our second exit. I checked my gauge. Yung tanke ko was still around 70 to 80% full. So marami pa akong hangin. We didn't have to worry about that. I assumed then that the others had the same air, kasi I thought back then that amongst all the divers amongst our group, ako yung the weakest link, yung pinakamalakas sa akin, because I was a relatively new diver back then. So medyo malakas pa tayo umipak ng hangin. But yeah, we were about to exit from our first penetration, and then suddenly, upon exiting nauna or nag-overtake yung safety diver namin. Nag-overtake sa akin, nauna siya sa akin. Which was weird because as a safety diver, you should always remain at the back of the group. Kasi you need to view the group kung may problema ba. So you should always be at the back of the group. So yeah, it was weird that in-overtaken niya ako. But I didn't mind. Baka sa isip ko noon was that baka mamaya may gusto lang siya sabihin sa lead guide namin or something like that. So I just went back to my camera, continue filming. So yeah, nakita ko nagsend niya siya sa lead guide namin, but we still went on. So I thought everything was all good. So basically ako na yung nasa dulo ng group. Ako na yung nasa labas. Wala nang tao sa likod ko. So we exited the ship, nasa labas na, and we were going to go to top of the ship, a bit on top of the ship, to do our second penetration kasi nandun yung entry. While we were on the top of the ship nakita ko ngayon si safety diver naghahabol na kay lead guide, and I just saw him grab the octo of the lead guide and breathe through that regulator. So for those that don't know, octo is a regulator, an extra regulator that each diver carries. Its purpose is to share air for anyone that needs it. Okay, so kung may nabusan ng hangin, you offer that octo. Or for this case, the person na nabusan ng hangin just grabbed that octo. So yeah, he grabbed that octo. The lead guide was a bit startled, but yeah, he saw that the second diver was breathing through his octo already. He tried to calm him down, normalize his breathing, and when he was already a bit calm, we started to swim back to our exit point, pataas na. So basically, when that happened, the lead guide already told us that the dive is over. Even though marami pa kaming air, the dive is already over. We slowly swam up to our safety stop. The lead guide assisting and body breathing, not really body, assisting the second guide. All right. And when we were already at the safety stop, by then I think I still had about 60% or 70% of air left. So yeah, we did our safety stop. While we were there, nakichika ako. I swam up to the dive guides and asked him what's up. And the lead guide just gave me a sign na yung slashing sa leg, which means for us the diver's already out of air, like 0% na. left on the tank. So that made sense. Everybody was bummed out, of course, but we all understood why it had to stop. And yeah, it was a pretty scary experience at the same time exciting, because that's why we do the training. That's why we do the certification for things like this, for emergency cases like this. We will know what to do. So naghamit yung training namin. So anyway, when we got up, medyo nakichika ako sa lead guide on what happened. He said that the second guide was really out of air, like wala na talagang hangin yung tangke niya. I asked him if it was a faulty equipment. He said no. So that led me to assume na lang na, or it led us to assume that the guide panicked nung nasa ilalim. Siguro when we were already inside the ship, kung gaano kadilim and claustrophobic, yeah, nagpanic siya. Siguro nagkaroon ng claustrophobia, kaya nag-hyperventilate, and he ran through that air really, really quickly. And he did not tell us na half tank na pala siya or less than that, because you're supposed to tell people when you're already below 50% of your tank. But yeah, he didn't do that. He waited until almost zero na yung air niya, and by the time that he was able to breathe through another person's or another diver's octo, 0 bar na siya, which should have not happened in the first place. So anyway, that's a lesson there. That's why we train for cases like this, and that's why it is important to remain transparent with your dive buddies. So the rest of the day, we did the last 2 dives. We still did the dives, hindi pa kami umuwi. It's just that the second guide hindi na siya sumama. Alright, thank you guys for listening. Bye-bye.